Hello everyone, it's Easter. We are celebrating and remembering the death and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. One significant thing to note is that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross. And we have here with us Uncle Ivan to share with us the significance of the cross, to understand why Jesus had to be crucified on the cross, why he wasn't just buried in a grave, stabbed and thrown in an unmarked grave, just killed, right? So Uncle Ivan,
hi.
Why was Jesus crucified on the cross? What's the significance of the cross?
Well, generally the cross to Christians is a symbol of God's love for us. We know that from the Old Testament it had been prophesied that, especially in Genesis chapter 3, God told Eve that her seed would crush the head of the serpent and the serpent would bruise his heel. So it was a way of God telling us that in our redemption, a man or a human being would come to die, and in his death, he would save us. In his death, he would get victory over the serpent for us. But in the process of getting that victory, the person would be harmed, or the person would be affected negatively, in quotes, by the devil. The reason why Jesus would have to die on the cross is because at the time Jesus was going to die, the cross was the worst form of punishment by death that the woman's had. And it was a way of God intentionally making the statement that, yes, my son will come to die, but he's not going to die an easy death, a death that was going to be comfortable or nice, but he was going to die in the worst way possible at the time he was alive, so that later on, for you and I, we wouldn't say Jesus chose the easy way out, and nobody would say, oh, Jesus died in this way, but my offense required a death by crucifixion, but Jesus was just hanged, so my offense doesn't fit in. Jesus died in the worst way possible, so that no matter the offense you commit, you know that he has covered it by the worst form of punishment possible. Yes. So that is why he will die by a cross and not by any other means. That's why you die by a cross and not by any other means. So that is for us a symbol of God's love. And when you look at the details of his death and the things he went through before he died, you realize that he really went through a lot. And it was a way for God to initiate a relationship. For us, we don't see it as God just finding an easy way to get us into a relationship. But you study from Gethsemane all the way to the cross, and you realize that every little detail, everything that he went through, first of all, was prophesied about in the Old Testament, and secondly, was an intentional effort to make sure that every loophole is covered. So I always like to say that no matter the sin you committed, you can't find a loophole, because when you study about Jesus' death and resurrection, you realize that that is the cap of it. Like, he has covered everything possible. Yes, so that is the significance of the cross to us as Christians. And at Easter, it is always important for us to keep remembering. This is something we are supposed to remember for the rest of our lives. But because sometimes we forget, we have set up a time in the year that falls exactly at the time that Jesus died. So that's why, unlike Christmas, Easter dates changes, right? Because we kind of try to use the Jewish calendar to determine when it's happening. And that's for us to always keep remembering that Jesus died intentionally, because when you look at the Garden of Gethsemane, it wasn't, they didn't spring it up as a surprise on him that, oh, we know we sent you here to come and save the world, but part of it is there. He knew before he came. It was an intentional thing. And the Garden of Gethsemane, he was asking God that if it was possible, the cup should be taken away from him. But at the same time, he said that God's will should be done. So Jesus intentionally went to that cross. The Romans, the Jews, the Jewish leaders thought it was probably something they had invented, or something that they were doing to him, but he was intentionally there. And that's why he would say that he laid down his life and he will pick it up again. So those are the kind of things we should remember at Easter. And usually when we talk about these things, people get emotional, they just get emotional, they cry, and then people watch Passion of the Christ just to cry small at Easter. But that's not the point. The point of it is to always remember that God made an intentional effort to turn into a man so that you feel the physical pain of dying for you, so that your relationship can be restored. And that's the extent of the love God has for us.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Right? So, but any conclusion? Do you have anything else to say?
Well, all I would have to say is that seasons, celebrations are just ways for us to remember. We don't celebrate because we want to go through the thing again. We celebrate to remember. So as we remember Easter, let's remember this this thing that Jesus did, this intentional effort. And let's give ourselves a challenge that if He loved me this way, what can I do in my little way, as little as it seems, as grand as it seems? What can I do to give Him back the love that He has loved me? And one of the easiest ways Jesus gives us is to make more disciples. Don't be selfish with your gift. Let's go out, let's preach to our friends, let's tell our friends that Jesus did this, He did it for me, He did it for you. I know we'll meet people with excuses. Oh, me, I'm a drug dealer, Jesus doesn't love me. Oh, I'm a drunkard, Jesus doesn't love me. But you have to make them understand that it was intentional, it was for you, He did everything, He covered all the loopholes. So you don't have any excuse not to come. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Uncle Ivan, for sharing this with us, right? So in as much as we are celebrating Easter and then maybe we are chewing chicken and everything, let's reach out to our friends, let's reach out to our loved ones. Let's tell them about the reason why we are celebrating Easter. We are moving from the death of Jesus Christ to His resurrection, right? So later on we'll talk about the blood of Jesus Christ, and then we will wrap up with the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So stay tuned. Thank you and God bless you.
God bless you.
I am your worship. I am the sacrifice.